friends, and welcome again to another episode of the Urban Homesteading channel with Professor DIY. If this is the first time you're visiting us, we want to extend to you a very warm welcome. If you're a subscriber or you have been here before, welcome back. We appreciate you visiting. If today is your birthday, we want to wish you a very happy birthday. So today we have a fun project for you that requires a little bit of a trip in the woods if you want to get the material that we got, right? But there are other ways to make it that we're going to explain. So we're going to use a remnants of a 4x4 and sticks to make a very fun and whimsical jewelry organization tree. Is that what we're going to call it?
Yeah.
As always, stick around and we're going to show you everything and how we did it so you can repeat it yourself. So today we're going to use an off-cut 4x4 and a piece of wood we found in the woods, and we are going to transform those two to those nice functional rustic looking jewelry holders. One, the taller one, for necklaces, and the lower one for bracelets. Stick around, we're going to show you every step of the way so you can do it yourself.
Okay, so we're just trying to use this as a place marker so we can decide how long we want our cross piece to be. And in this instance, I said I probably wanted it about 4 inches beyond the edge of my base. And so if I do that, it doesn't want to stay. 4, and then I add another 4 over here. I'm at about 15 inches. I could go to 15 and a half if I wanted, but I think 15 is enough, and then we'll kind of on-center it. And then because I want my upright to accommodate an 18-inch chain, we're going to go half that plus 1, and so we're going to do a 10-inch riser for the necklace one. And then we'll adjust those dimensions when we're making this the bracelet holder.
And again, none of those dimensions is critical, right?
No, this is just what I like visually. And again, we may decide we want to change that a little bit as we start putting it together. It might look bulky or something. And so you can adjust.
And the base we're going to cut in half.
Yeah,
it's not going to be as thick.
Yeah, we're going to make 2 bases out of this. We're going to cut it in half lengthwise here. Definitely it's going to stay that length for the necklace holder, but for the bracelet one we might take a little bit off there. I haven't quite decided.
And I guess in our case we're using a cedar for the base and cedar
for the riser and the cross piece. But
right.
You could also use dowels. I don't think these are quite the appropriate diameter, but you can use them if you want a more clean finished look. I wanted to do the more natural look with cedar and of course clean up the piece
right.
to give you that cedar grain and the color.
Okay, so we're going to start cutting the pieces, and in this case we're going to have to do a lot of finishing on the branches, but that's okay.
Right.
So we're going to start by making the bases. We're going approximately half. Is not a big deal, right? If one base is a little thicker than the other, it is really not a big deal, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that is pretty close. I mean,
Yeah.
again, it's not a big deal at all.
Nobody's going to look that close at it. Yeah.
Okay. Now, if you are a perfectionist and you want this to be flat, I don't know, in our case, I think I like it the way it is, but you could move the base a little and just make it totally flat, because as you can see, we get a pretty good cut here, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let's go and start working on
Are we going to do the bevels like we talked about?
Well, it has 2 bevels already. Yeah, if you want to, we can.
Yeah, we should
Okay.
while we have the saw out.
We need in all 4 corners, right?
All 4 sides, yeah. Okay.
Corner, side, same thing. So this is a simple way to add interest to your piece, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you can also do it on all 4 sides. We decided to only do it on 2, right? And of course you can use a router and route any kind of face you want, but with us we want to be rustic and simple and
Right. It just gives it a little bit of visual interest without being just a straight cut.
And they are both the same, so they will match each other, you know.
Yep.
Okay. So now we're cutting our horizontal piece to length. We're going to use power tools because we have them, but this is very easy to cut with a handsaw, right? In fact, we did the rough cutting with the handsaw ourselves.
For the smaller pieces.
Right.
Look at that cedar.
Yeah.
How nice. So that's one. We have one more horizontal piece to cut, and then we'll work on Okay, and the reason I do that is we get comments, you say you can do it with hand tools, but you always use power tools, and that's true because we try to be fast. But as you can see, the hand tool did pretty much the same job that the other saw does, right? You can do those projects with hand tools, guys. We just don't have the time to do that. Right. It just takes a little more time and effort on your part. And again, we're just using the power tools because we have them available.
Right. And this is a $10 saw. This is not an expensive saw, right?
Right.
All right. So we're going to finish. We have 2 more to do, and we're going to be right back.
Okay.
Don't try to be perfect in this, please.
So we're using a paddle bit to drill out a hole. We put it in the vise.
We didn't put it in the vise very well. We don't want to go through all the way.
Right, because the idea is that our...
And we might have to adjust this a little bit. Yeah, but there it is.
Yeah, so our upright is going to go in like that.
And we're going to do the same thing on the other 2, right? So we happen to use paddle beads. You can use round beads.
Look at this really awesome set of paddle bits he found in the magic workshop.
So the idea is that we're going to put a little bit of glue, and it will be a very, very positive fit without having to use any hardware, any screws or anything else, right? So we did it on both for the bases and for the tops. So in essence, we're going to have the piece go here, and then the piece go here, and it's going to glue there and will be perfect, right?
Right.
All right. So now we have to finish all this.
Right, we've got to do some sanding to clean those up and bring out the grain on the cedar.
But this is cedar from our land, so this is all awesome, and we wish you could smell it. It really smells really good.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons we love working with it. Besides the color and the grain, is it's so awesome to smell in the workshop.
So if you have a tree in your backyard or a forest to go by, this is not a lot of material, as you see, right?
Right, and we didn't cut anything down. This was already fallen wood, so we're just using what has already been available.
So another zero-cost project for us, right?
Right.
This was scrap, what we use for a base, and this was on the floor of the forest. So, all right.
So for expediency, we're using the belt sander.
I guess I was wrong.
So we're going to clean these up and we'll show you the finished.
More or what?
No, that's good.
More or what?
That's good except for it's uneven. So you're not putting equal pressure.
Okay.
Okay.
So what we did here, again, when people say we use our equipment, yes, we have power equipment, we use it. We need to edit, we need to get the video done. But definitely this can be done even with a hand sander, definitely with an orbital sander, right? This sander simply makes it faster. You don't need to have it, right?
Right. Right. It's not a requirement. It's just making your job easier when you're doing your
Right.
projects.
And you can sand it more or less. We wanted to match the profile here because I made a mistake and cut the wrong side. So, no, that's okay. But
But
we
that's okay.
this
We're rolling
softness,
with it.
right?
Yeah, we're rolling with it. So we're just making this edge. It was rounded on the piece, and so what he did was cut the opposite side, and so we just rounded this to match it, so that when they're set up, they're gonna look the same.
Okay. Taking care to let the wood remain round. Do not press too hard to make the wood flat. But you can use a hand sander, or even use pieces of sandpaper with your hand to take the rough edges of the wood off, any remaining bark or imperfections, and you get a very nice clean result, as you can see here. We're using a very basic hand sander, and as you can see, the wood maintains its roundness, and that's the only trick here. Make sure you don't press too much or use too aggressive paper, because in that instance your piece will turn an octagonal piece versus a round, and we wanted this to be a round piece of wood. Other than that, this is the straightforward process. Again, here we're using two sanders in order to finish on time and be able to edit and publish the video, but definitely you don't need one. The only trick on the smaller pieces, try not to reduce the diameter, because if you sand too much, even if your dry fitting was correct, you might find that your ends are too loose. So when you're doing your small pieces, the vertical pieces, not the horizontal, make sure that towards the edges you're very, very light in sanding, so you're going to have a very nice tight fitting. Can I look at the top better?
Yeah.
Okay.
But then it'll be loose there.
Okay.
So here we are making some of the what is this called?
Homemade wood putty.
Homemade wood putty. Okay. Just because these are natural branches and the diameter isn't exact the same all the way across. So we're going to use some of that to fill in a little bit where our slightly smaller diameter.
Don't put too much. The idea is to be around it, not on the bottom. Now put it around it. Have a pizza, hold it and then put it around it, just. And of course, because we're working with natural wood, the diameter is not perfect, right?
Right.
Our diameter cutting was perfect, but the wood had other ideas.
And the other three joints are all correct.
Right, and that's okay. As I said, you find ways to fix things.
This is just a small deviation in the diameter of the wood because it is a natural branch.
As compared to an unnatural branch.
Right, well, I mean, it's not
I know, I'm just being
It's not a dowel. That's my point.
I'm just being difficult.
Mm-hmm.
You might want to hold pressure on it a bit. Okay, the downside, we have to let it dry. You can finish it because we're going to spray fish in the clear coat, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that will not harm anything.
Okay. And
But
so
then someone has to hold this so it will not move.
you're going to put a little glue in the top there.
Now this glue dries clear, so even if it squeezes out, do not worry. And as you can hear, this is actually fairly tight, right? So 3 out of 4 joints was very tight. Were very tight.
I'm gonna tap that just to make sure I have it all the way down. Ow! There was my leg again. This saw is
Trying to kill you?
yes.
Some percussion force necessary.
Percussive persuasion. Okay.
And here, just try to make it as parallel as you can. Perfection is not needed, right? I mean, you know, we.
Well, it is supposed to look a little bit rustic since we used a natural. There we go. That one's looking pretty good.
Okay. And now it is time for finish. Here you can do whatever you want. You can paint it, you can stain it, you can Suzuki bind it for that matter.
You could, yeah.
But we decided to go with clear coat. Again, Rust-Oleum is not a sponsor. We bought this with our own money, but this is a brand we use and we trust, right?
And as this clear coat goes on, you can see what a difference it makes.
Yeah, it immediately transforms it, right?
Oh yeah.
And the clear coat tends to dry quite quickly. Then if someone check it that you didn't miss any points, when you're very close to it, sometimes you miss something, right?
Yeah, we'll show you.
This is our project for today. And again, we say this is a zero-cost project for us. Of course, we do not count our labor. So if you were to buy something like this, don't expect it to be very inexpensive, right? Even though the wood could be, even for the artist, free, there is labor involved on it, right? There is design involved, there are things involved on it. But all we mean is if you want to do it yourself, which is the base of the channel, you can go in your backyard, walk a few feet, and find what you need, right? Again, we went from something like this to these beautiful pieces, right? And in fact, we only use one branch, and we use the verticals from the thinner part of the branch and the horizontals from the thicker, right? What we use for this, we use some paddle bits. Any form of saw will work, right? And sanding. I think that's it. We didn't use anything else, right?
No, that's basically it.
Again, I received a couple of messages that say, well, you say anyone can build it, but you have equipment. I want to address that again. Yes, we do have equipment, and we use it for expediency. I cannot speak. But that doesn't mean you need to have those tools to do it. As we demonstrated today, a hand saw will do the same job, just slightly longer, right? But even with hand tools, I think this is a 2-hour project. What do you think? Definitely an easy afternoon project.
Yeah.
It's not a hard project. Ladies, was that what you were envisioning when we started?
It was for me, yeah.
And the plan is for the tall one to house necklaces. And here's what we did. We took the biggest necklace that Elpida has, and we said that was 18 inches, just to give you an idea how to do it if you do it, right? And we halved that, and then we added 1 inch so it will not be touching the base.
Right.
So this is 10 inches for us, right? But you can use your own dimensions.
And we did add a little extra because, of course, we recessed them into
Right.
both pieces of wood. So.
And the smaller piece is for bracelets, so it's smaller. And thinking about it, you could do really small branches and do one for rings too, right?
Oh yeah, yeah.
We just didn't do that today.
Nope.
Any case, lessons learned. Sanding. No.
Sanding, yeah. Sanding is your friend.
But you can use things that you have around. And again, if you say I live in a city, there are no forests around me, dowels. You can go to the dollar store, buy 2 different size dowels, a thicker one and a thinner one, and have the same output, the same functionality out of it, right?
Right.
Well, friends, that concludes our episode for today. We hope you enjoyed it. We definitely enjoy making it for you. If you find some value in this video, please give us a thumb up. If you didn't, hit the other button twice. Share, like, subscribe, and let us know what other projects you want to see. You might want to see.
You might
the
like.
Urban Homesteading channel. From Professor DIY, Mrs. DIY, and Elpida. Be careful. Take care of yourselves, friends.